And we are live. Welcome to Beyond the Finish Line with myself, Georgia, and Matt. How are you, Matt?
Fantastic, Georgia. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Do you like how I did that little intro today?
You've left out that it's episode 6, but other than that, it was fantastic.
My bad. Sorry, guys. Welcome to episode 6. Go us. Look at us. We are 4 episodes away from the 10 episode goal that we were chatting about.
Yeah, the top 1% of podcasters on the planet. Thank you for coming.
I know. We live in that top 1%, don't we?
That's us, Georgia. We're just hyper achievers.
We are hyperachievers. And now, last week, I apologize. I completely forgot to ask you how your training week was last week after I had banged on about saying that we should definitely be doing that every week.
Georgia comes up with these ideas and she's like, it's got to be a thing. I'm like, okay, we can do it. And then she forgets.
And then I forget. And see, Matt rolls with the punches, and then I forget to deliver the punches.
I find it super interesting that outside of the podcast, you're very roll with the punches and I'm very straight down the line. This is what the program says. But then when we get on video or on audio and you're just like, what do I do? And I'm like, we'll work it out.
It's funny. I don't know what it is. I'm getting better at being nervous in front of the mic, but it's interesting that my job revolves around making sure, as a brand, my work looks really nice and things are, going ahead as planned. Whereas it comes to this, I'm like, what do I do?
I can tell you're finding your feet a little bit because this was the first week you didn't message me all week, being like, what are we going to talk about? What are some good talking points? How do we keep people interested? You were like, literally 10 minutes ago on WhatsApp, we were just like, what are we going to talk about? This or this? And I'm like, cool, let's do that.
Cool, let's do it. I know we are
Yeah.
definitely getting a lot better at just, being comfortable on the mic. Obviously, you are very comfortable on the mic, but you haven't done the podcast with me for very long. So we're getting used to each other, I guess.
I think also a big one for you is, and I speak about this a lot because you sometimes don't like my editing style, is the podcast is just like, it's just two people chatting. It's a conversation, but you're very much come from short form content where it's snap, 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 no
Yes.
dead air, no nothing, no lulls. And I'm very comfortable just having a silence while I'm thinking about something.
I know it's so, and you're so right. I am so used to that short form content that I've been, doing for my own personal stuff and also through work where I'm
Yeah.
constantly cutting out dead air. I'm cutting out ums. I'm cutting out all of that stuff. And when I listened to the episodes and when I was listening to it the other day, there was a big pause and I'm just melting into the ground. I'm like, no, poor Matt.
But that you get rewarded in the Instagram social media space for the quick cuts, the no ums and ahs, etc. Like that,
Yeah.
that content does well. If we posted a podcast reel and it was just 10 seconds of me going, yeah, that's a good question. It wouldn't go very well, would it?
You would lose people within the first 2 seconds of that. That's for sure.
100%.
While
Yeah, so it's just
Matt
different.
looks at the stats behind, training, and he's a stat nerd for that. I'm a stat nerd for a reel, just looking at what's happening in the background.
I'm pretty sure if we go back through our chat, I showed you that.
Yeah, well, yes, you showed me that. But I personally, I'm looking at my own reels being like, okay, how long until people are dropping off? How can I improve that? What can I do better? I'm
Do you
constantly.
know what your average watch time is at the moment?
Usually, if it's a long form video, it's usually between 30 and 40 seconds.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, if it's short form, it's probably around 10 to 12. Like if it's a
I'm
minute.
sitting at like a minute video, I'm getting like 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's tough. It depends on what it
Yeah.
is. Depends on how good your hook is at the start, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm not super amazing at the hook at the start because I love to chat, so I'm a little bit,
I feel like you've got enough brand equity now. Like if people
Yeah.
see Georgia pop up, they know they either like you or they don't. They don't have
Yeah.
to wonder.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
they're going to watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And like this week, I've just been so in my head about social media and just, oh, how can I improve? What can I do better? This person's already, they've got triple my followers, but I've been doing this longer. How can I do it better? And oh my goodness, it's never ending.
There's it. I think the more time you put into thinking about what other people are doing and how come they've worked, it'll just drive you insane. Like, there's a bloke I coach, Pete, and he is like I don't want to say a life coach because I might get that wrong, but like he helped kind of life coachy vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And he posts reels that they're very well thought out, they're very well written, but they're not like the classic engaging hook, etc. Like, it's just he just does his thing. He went from like 400 followers to 40,000 in a week.
Wow.
He posted forever, nothing happened, and then just like one day, bang.
Wonder what the catalyst was for the 40,000.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I remember I didn't check his profile for, a couple of weeks or whatever, and just happened to jump on it. And I was like, boom. I was like, shit.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I was talking to my friend Julie that I host my Run Club Sunday social with. And I was saying to her this morning, I was like, babe, my head is all over the place today. I don't want to talk to my other girlfriends about this because I don't want to bore them with social media stuff. But she was just like, you just have to try not to be in your head about it. Everyone else is on their own journey. And I was like, oh my God, I need to listen not only to Julie, but listen to myself. I'm constantly telling people everyone's on their own journey. Don't look at everyone else's pace. I need to apply that to myself in other situations.
I think it's hard as soon as you start incorporating money and other people's expectations into it. It's like as soon as you start getting paid for things, like there is a certain level of pressure. It is not just I'm posting because I want to. It is because I'm posting because I need to post this and I'm hoping it leads to more business, etc. So like it does become a little bit muddy when it's not when you're at the level you're at. I'm not there yet, but like when you're at the point where brands are paying you or inviting you to events and things, like it definitely changes.
It's one of those things where it does start to become a job. When I first started, it all started out with just wanting to share the journey, and I still am so for that, but because at the moment I'm not training for anything, I'm like, okay, how can I make it interesting? How can I improve this for those that are watching my content or give them some sort of value add from my content? But as you said, when brands start coming on board, and I personally only will ever work with a brand that I've used in the past, I'm familiar with, I would purchase myself, all of those sorts of things. You will never, I hope, never see me posting about a random brand that has nothing to do with me as a person or what I'm about. And so when a brand wants to come on board, I really try and work with them on a long-term basis so that, my content is authentic. I don't want to sell out, but it does become hard because you are constantly going, okay, well, I want to make sure the brand is happy, but I also have to stay true to myself. So it's a very fine line.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It just gets muddy, and sometimes you go a little bit one way, you go a little bit the other. It just gets confusing. Like internally, not for the audience, for yourself.
And I think I probably overthink it too, in that I'm worrying what my audience is thinking, but half the time they probably don't even see half of them anyway.
Yeah, I was looking at my stats the other day, and I think it was like 65% are non-followers. So
there you go. You just never know. But I mean, so I've come a long way. I mean, I didn't always do paid stuff. It was always
of course,
gifting. I get a lot of questions about that sort of stuff online, about how to approach brands. Do I approach brands? Which I don't do. I don't approach a brand being like, hey, let's work together. I always make sure they come to me organically, because then I know they like my content. If I'm approaching a brand and saying, let's work together, they're not familiar with me, unless I know they follow me or something. But again, I still probably wouldn't. Because if they really wanted to work with me, they'd approach me. So that's kind of like where I go with that. But this conversation has slowly turned into a social media thing.
I think that's the trend of all of our podcasts, is like we go, yep, this is what we're going to talk about. We start talking, and then you and I just have a conversation. Like I think that's the beauty of podcasts. Like, you don't know where it's going to go. You can have an idea, you can have talking points, but if you get on a topic, like, just keep talking about it.
Definitely. I think, look, we always talk about stuff that I'd want to listen to on a long run, and lots of people love to listen to this on their long run.
True.
Yeah. So I think let's just keep talking about socials for a bit. how have you worked with any brands recently? Or are you excited about any brands?
I'm I'm in kind of a weird spot at the moment where we've gone all in on content this year in terms
Yeah,
of
saw
YouTube,
that.
2 podcasts, doing all socials, all that sort of stuff. And in the triathlon space, you can't really, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like if you work with a brand, it kind of other brands don't always want to work with you because you've worked with a certain brand.
Yeah,
Like if you
it
did
is.
if I did something with a shoe brand, all the other shoe brands would just go not interested. They
Which
wouldn't try and poach you.
Yeah, which I find very interesting. I've definitely had brands in the past say to me, "Oh, look, I'm really sorry you've worked with X, so we don't want to work with you," which I can understand. But I'm also like, in a world of content that is constantly turning over day by day, why would you not want to be in the mix? Why would you completely
Yeah.
sell yourself out to an audience and just say, "Oh, no, sorry, we're not going to work with you now"?
And also, just like, let's say shoe company A sent you a pair of shoes and you're like, yep, love them, did the content and everything. Shoe
Yeah,
company B come by and they're like, hey, we think our shoe's better. Like, just let's compare it. Give us an honest review.
totally. I mean, look
Like,
at Jog on Crago.
ah,
All he does is talk about shoes, and
yeah,
he's very honest in saying some of them I buy, some of them I get sent, and the brands know that he's going to give an honest review. And I don't think, I've only ever once in the past been given a shoe that I wasn't really sure about, and I actually ended up messaging the brand and saying, "Look, I'm really sorry, but I actually don't like these shoes. They don't work for me. I can't talk about them. I'm happy to send them back to you." And they were like, "No, not a problem. Thanks so much anyway. Look, probably
that's
burn
the
that."
correct way for a brand to deal with
Yeah,
that too. Like, just for influencer, athlete, whatever you want to call our side of it, and for the brand is like you've just got to be honest all the way through. But
yeah. Many of the
I'm really trying to for what we've got coming up, and I'm sort of playing outside of the sub 10, keeping the cards close to my chest because we've got some pretty wild stuff in the pipeline. We really need to start like raising some money,
yeah,
to make it to do what we want to do. So we're really just trying to target some of the bigger brands, coming at it more like an investment because we're sort of pitching it as a long-term play rather than
yeah.
just
A
hey, you
one-off.
get a one-off reel or something. We're like, cool, this is what the next 12 months look like. This is how we plan to structure the content around each campaign. These are all
Yeah.
those sort of points. So we're sort of coming at it from a little bit of a different angle now, but yeah, it's still a grind no matter which way you do it.
Yeah, I think that's probably, I mean, in that instance, we were looking at a long-term plan. I think that is where you probably do want to approach the brand and say, "This is what we're doing."
Yeah.
But for the one-off ones, it's a bit trickier, which
Yeah,
I
I think
mostly do.
the information you put out at the start was way more relevant for the audience. Like I'm probably in a little bit more of a niche position right now.
Yeah, totally. Do you know what I just realized? We still didn't talk about your week of training, and I will.
Do you want to know what? I had that in the back of my head. I was like, I wonder how long I can keep the conversation going before she realizes. I was going to
Oh
wait
no,
to the last minute and then put it in.
I think if you watch the video back, you'll see me zoning out where I'm like, oh my God, we haven't talked about it. When am I going to say it? When do I say it? I don't want to cut the conversation." I was like,
I've
I will
literally
be
got it
damned
written
if we don't
down.
talk about it.
I just jotted it down on my notebook that's next to me, and I was like, after we do the wrap up, I am going to put it in right at the end and be like, hey, Georgia, guess what?
Sucked in. I have come in. I didn't forget yet. Tell me about your week of training.
Yeah, so I'm proper in Ironman prep now.
You
So
are.
we're 12 weeks out officially today, or 83 days. Yesterday was 12 weeks.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's going to go fast. We're just kind of in the washing machine at the moment where you don't really know what's going on. It's just double, triple training sessions every day, just dragging yourself through it.
Yeah, I saw your week of training pop up on my feed, and I was just like, how do you have time to do this? Like 7 hours on the bike or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, it helps when you spend 4 hours on a Saturday. Just that's a big chunk of it, right?
Right.
Same with like long run, like Sunday, we might run 50, 60% of our weekly volume just, one day. So
Yeah.
It's
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it did
rough.
look a lot. I did think about you the other day when I was at the pool doing a swim and I was like, how does he do this?
Swimming's the worst. Like, especially if you're not fully keen to do it mentally, because you're just
Yeah.
staring at that black line for an hour and a half, 3 times a week.
Yeah. Do you have earpods you can wear in the water or you don't?
I try not to because my
You can't.
ADHD, I zone out, and if I'm not focused on swimming, I swim really, really badly. So I just need to like limit distractions and
Right.
focus on swimming.
Yeah, it's a lot harder than I thought it would be, the old swimming. It's
It's one of those things like if you're not doing it all the time, like every other day, you regress immediately. It's not like running where you're like, I haven't run for a week, I'll just pick up where I left off. So if you don't swim every other day at a minimum, there is an instant regression.
oh my gosh. Here I was
Yeah,
thinking I could go maybe once a week.
You can, you'll get fit, but like it'll just be
It'll be
so
for fitness, not for skill.
yeah, you're not going to get faster.
Right. And what was the worst part of your week?
It's interesting because so I recently changed coaches, and I'm starting a mini series on my other podcast called the Sub 10 Diaries, where I'm sort of going to delve into this a little bit
Yeah.
deeper, and sort of it's where I can just talk for an hour by myself, nerd out.
I was like, come on, give us a preview.
Yeah. Well, I changed coaches because the bike is the biggest part of the Ironman, right? So it's 180 Ks. It's going to take anywhere from 5 to 6 hours. I need it to take as close to 5 hours as possible. And with my previous coach, I felt like my swimming and running was quite good, but my bike was really lacking. So I found a coach that really specializes in bike strength, just upping the bike as much as possible and doing it as efficiently as possible without having to ride 20, 25 hours a week. You rolled your eyes there. That's like some of those boys ride 1,000 kilometers a week. Like, it's ridiculous.
I didn't even realize I did that. What is wrong with me? I was just thinking. I was just like,
It was just like, it wasn't like a offensive eye roll. It was just like,
good.
what the fuck?
yeah, it was. It was like, I was kind of in my brain, I'm computing the hours that you're talking about and the kilometers, and I'm thinking, okay, wow, that's a lot considering I only do at the moment 40 Ks of running and I'm trying to fit that in. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, so like my mate, Matty Burton, for example, he's like the outlier of outliers. He's a professional triathlete. He rides at least 20 hours a week, like 1,000 kilometers a week. But he is an Uber biker, right? That's his thing. Breaks all the bike course records. Anyway.
But I guess, that's his full-time job. And
yeah, for sure.
you're all in on this year as well. So it gives you a bit more time as well, as opposed to going to an office and trying to fit it in.
Yeah, well, I mean, I still have the performance project and everything, so there's still stuff to do. But anyway, change coach, want to get better at the bike, and the kick in the teeth that the bike training has been great because I can feel myself getting fitter, everything changing, stronger on the bike, like week on week. Like every week you look at a workout, like, I don't know if I can do that, and then you do it. And what we spoke about, you build momentum week in, week out, which is great. It also upsets me because I spent 2 years with a previous coach, and I'm like, I've made more progress in the last month with this new coach than I did in like 8 months previous.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you got to look at it logic or analytically, and you're like, was it time wasted? No. Was it optimized time? Also no. So it's like, it's not the end of the world, but you're just like, at the same time, like, fuck, I wish I put it off. This coach has been trying to headhunt me for ages.
Okay. Is there any hard feelings with your other coach, or it's all good?
No,
or?
it happens all the time. It's quite common in triathlon. Like, most people change pretty 6, 8 a year, 2 years, just depends on how well you're performing. It happens all the time.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it happens in running, but I promise I'm not going anywhere.
If you go somewhere, my whole marketing plan disappears, just so everyone knows.
Matt and I always joke that I'm his marketing manager, his social
You're
media
my CMO,
manager.
yep.
I love it.
Yeah.
And the highlight of your week.
Was getting through all the bike stuff.
Oh, so it was your low and your high.
It was my low and my high, yeah,
Okay.
because like I said, I look at those sessions and I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. And then I get through it and that's awesome. And that's the high. And then the
Yep.
low is how I felt thinking about like if I had made this switch. Because I was reluctant, right? Like I was reluctant to make the jump. I was reluctant to be like, to take the chance, to take the risk. Because I had the coach I had, awesome, very good, ticked every single box, did everything I needed. And then it was the risk of the unknown, right? It's like,
Yeah.
it's almost like dating someone else. Like you got to break up with someone because
Yeah, it's a bit
could-
like that.
yeah. So
And
highlight
then
and low light was that.
it's coming out of your comfort zone as well. You're comfortable with your other coach. Now you're in
Yeah.
with a new coach. They've got a different training style.
Yeah, different workout, like different way they structure the week. Everything is different. So it's a big. And then you put the volume of Ironman prep on top of all of that. It's just like a lot to take in all at once.
That is a lot to take in, I can imagine. I know it can be a bit overwhelming sometimes, especially with all those different things.
But you haven't been running this week, so I can't ask you what your highlight and low light is.
I mean, you can still ask me.
Georgia, what was your highlight and low light of the week?
Thank you, Matt. Maybe I want to talk about me for a bit, okay? Um, Monday, I actually did my recovery run, but yeah, I went to the physio because I've been getting this very dull pain in my hip, and I spoke to my brother, who is also a physio. He unfortunately moved away, so now I don't get free sessions. But I was trying to describe it. I was like, my bone in my hip just hurts, and like I don't know where anything is in my body. I'm just like here somewhere, and I'm sending him pictures while I'm in the city. I'm trying to send him pictures of my leg, being like, here, it's like it's right here. And he's like, I don't know, dude, go see the physio. So I went and saw my physio Ian, and yeah, he was like, look, it looks like hip bursitis, which is a bit annoying. And if you don't know what that is, guys, it's basically there's part of your hip bone and there's a muscle that goes over it, and that just becomes really inflamed due to a few things. It could be that I did a session too hard, or, you know, I've dropped back on my glute training and all that sort of stuff. And I've just got a tricky left glute. So that put me out all week. And so that's why Matt's saying I didn't run last week, because I have had a really sore hip. So yeah, but highlight, I guess, was I went to my run club on Wednesday and everyone else went for a run, and I just watched the sun come up and I had a coffee and I was like, this is great. This is really
I
nice.
saw that. I was like, oh, that's a little bit unlike Georgia, like just to be hanging out. I thought you would have been like, I'll go edit some content or something.
Look, I may or may not have been doing content at the same time. Multitasking. But yeah, I was testing out the new, we got a new DJI Osmo Pocket 3 camera. So I was playing with that a bit, which was fun. And yeah, low light obviously is that I didn't get to train, but specifically yesterday, you and I had a really great conversation. I was saying to you that I was feeling really down about the fact that Nick was going on his long run and all my friends had been on their long runs, and I was really struggling with staying at home. And yeah, you sent me a very nice voicemail telling me that, you know, if I don't rest now, it's going to be way worse down the track.
Yeah. Niggles turn into injuries when we don't give them rest. So you can rest for a few days now, let it heal up, and you'll be fine. Keep pushing, you'll get injured, and then we're out for a month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, who knows, and that's way worse. So if you got a little niggle, don't be afraid to let it rest for a day, 2 days. Take some anti-inflammatory. Things like
Totally.
that.
Yeah, look, I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, it still hurts. So I rested again this morning, even though you said if I was feeling okay, I could go for a bit of a jog. But I just decided it wasn't worth it. Just be strong. I'm not going to lose any fitness. But yeah.
Takes 14 days.
Yeah, that's it. So don't worry, I'll be out there before that 14 days.
I don't doubt it for a second.
Yeah, but no, I had a really good day yesterday. Actually, in the morning, I had a run club with Pace Athletic, which I don't know if you're familiar with Pace. They're the runners-
shop.
Yeah, the shop down here in
Yep.
Sydney. They've got 5 or 6 stores. So I headed to the Manly one. They were hosting a kind of brunch and run for beginner runners, and the team at ASICS were like, they were collabing with ASICS to test out the new Nimbus. And they're like, oh, could you come along? We'd love you to chat to the beginner runners and share your story with Beck, this another creator who came. And yeah, it was fun. It was nice. We went for a 2K run and walk, which was really nice. It's actually probably really good for my hip to do that.
What was it like talking to... What was it like sharing your story in person? Because obviously, like, you do it on socials quite a lot. But how often do you get up and do, like, quote unquote public speaking? Never.
Ever. It's funny, we did the 1K and then we stopped and everyone gathered around, and I said to Beck, I was like, oh, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first? And she's like, oh, I don't mind. And then, I don't know, something overcame me and I was just like, hey guys, like my full...
Rise to the moment.
Yeah, I was so surprised and so proud of myself because, you know, I really could have been nervous, but I just didn't give myself any time to be nervous. I was just like, nah, these guys, they are here to hear, you know, someone talk. They didn't know it was going to be me, but they're here to hear someone talk. They're beginner runners. Tell them that you were them. And that's all I did. I shortened my story right down because I didn't want to bore them, but
should have just really had a QR code for the podcast. Like, here it is.
Here's episode 1.
Like and subscribe. Yeah, like and subscribe.
Don't worry, I may have mentioned the podcast. But
always marketing.
Yeah, for sure. It was really good. I was really proud of myself. I feel like I spoke really clearly and I just got up there and I asked questions and I made sure everyone gave themselves, you know, a big clap because they had all just done their first run kind of thing. So yeah, it was cool. And Beck was like, oh my gosh, you're going to make me cry. And I was just like, oh. But it was nice. It was really nice. I was honestly honoured to be there. And to some people, it might just be like, oh, whatever, you were just told to speak at a run club. But for me, I was just like, wow, that's really cool. It was a full circle moment for me.
Yeah, it's... Sometimes I have those pinch me moments where I'm like, how is this my job? Or part of my job? Like when we did training camp for the performance project in Jindy, I just had everyone around. We're just doing like some running drills and stuff. And I was like, I'm getting paid to do this. Like, this is wild. People just want to hear me talk about running. Like, it's cool.
And you're like, wow, how is this my job, right? How did I get here? And that was so cool. I saw your post with everyone at the top of COSI and I was just like, how cool is that? I think when I first started training with you, how many people did you have?
2.
I thought you were going to say 10.
They were both named Pete as well.
Pete and Pete.
I had Pete and other Pete.
Yeah, and now you said last week you had 30.
Yeah, low 30s, yeah.
Yeah, which is, I mean, incredible. That's so good. It's times like this you really got to go like, holy crap. Look at me go.
Like this year, I was able to go full time with coaching this year, which is like surreal. So we're doing training camps. Like there's so many cool things. And guys, I never plugged the performance project, but we've got like 10, 15 spots left. So if you're interested in getting some run coaching, maybe doing some running with Georgia, hit me up on Instagram.
And look, I mean, I'm all for that because the whole reason why you and I came together was because of the performance project. And it was right in its early stages. And as much as Matt likes to joke in the first couple of episodes of this that I was a little bit hesitant for his big grand plans, but it's definitely been the best thing I think you've done and been the best thing for me. And, you know, I love being your poster girl. Like,
well, I'm pretty sure you and Nick are the only ones who make content out of all of my athletes. So it's a short list.
The girls do.
When? They do a story once a week when they see the seal.
Look, that seal is a dime a dozen. It is very hard to find him. Yeah. Benny is a hard seal to catch. So I also do the same thing.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I said, it's just these weird, surreal moments that are all just stemmed from starting running. Like if neither of us started running or triathlon or whatever, none of this would have happened.
Oh, for sure. I think at least once a week I'll have a moment where I'm like, how is this my life and how have I guess, built this platform where people want to be inspired and want to do things. And, you know, like starting a marathon and someone taps you on the shoulder and they're like, oh my God, Georgia, I'm here because of you. And I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
It just blows my mind. And I had a girl message me the other day and she was like, hey, you're probably not going to read this and you don't have to reply. But I was just like, I reply to everyone. 100%.
Yeah, I try to do my best as well, yeah.
Yeah, I will reply to everyone, regardless of what they're asking. If they're asking why their toenails are falling off, or they're asking me what shoe to wear, or whatever it is, I will reply. I don't care how gross it is. I actually do get those questions.
Yeah, I always find it weird where I'm at an event and someone will be like, I'll never forget the first time it happened. We were down at Husky for the Triathlon Festival and I was walking past and some fellow just goes, oi, you're the guy off the podcast, out of a shop. And I was just like, is he talking to me? And he walked out and he's like, can we get a photo? I was like, he didn't even tell me what his name was. He just wanted a photo. I was like, okay.
How funny. Do you know what? That's happened to me before. First Sydney Marathon that I did. I think I had probably 4 or 5 people yell out, oh my God, it's Georgia runs a marathon. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I was like, I have no idea who you are. I don't know like what your name is. But they know everything about you. It's weird.
They come up behind you and run and like, oh my God, you're Georgia runs a marathon. And I'm like, hi, what's your name? But right at the end, there was this young guy who came up to me and was like, oh, can I get a photo together? And I was like, sure. And my family were like, what the heck? Who are you? About me, not about him. I mean,
yeah.
Anyway, I never ended up seeing that photo, but yeah, it's so strange. But it definitely makes my friends laugh if we're out to dinner or something, and you know, the girl at the door or someone in the restaurant will be like, oh my God, I follow your TikTok or I follow your Instagram and I love, or, you know, it's so good.
Yeah. You definitely get it a lot more than me because like you're in the city. I know we talk about that a lot, but
and that's it. I'm in the city. Like a girl said she saw me yesterday in Manly and she couldn't believe that I was in Manly because I'm always in the city.
Yeah.
She's like, why are you not at Centennial? It's like, oh, look, I know. I'm also very confused.
Yeah. But it's interesting. Like I've definitely taken more notice, especially since starting the podcast, of like not the Centennial running community, because you're always in Centennial, and I'm just like, oh, like no wonder so many people get traction in that area, because like everyone's there all the time. It's just churning through. You see people in person. Like it makes such a difference to be like, oh my God, there runs Ned Brockman, there runs Georgia, there runs whoever, versus like just this person you see online once a day when they post for 20 seconds or 30 to 40 seconds. Yeah,
it's a real thing. I've made great friends from people who've just yelled out to me in the park. I remember, I think I probably only had 4,000 or 5,000 followers at the time. And this girl came running up behind me. I was on a long run. And she was like, oh my God, I love your TikToks, like this. And I was like, please message me so I know who you are. And she did. And now we talk all the time. She's great.
Yeah, awesome.
Ironically, she has more followers than me now, which is so funny.
Really?
Interesting. Yeah, she got into, she'll laugh, she'll probably hear this. She got into surfing and now she's, big into learning how to surf as an adult. So she makes this really cool content about that.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things in the world is when people get hyperfixated on something they didn't know they liked, and their whole personality changes, all their content, like everything they do is now shifted to this thing. And because like I'm like I've triathlon, you're like that with running, and I just love seeing someone do it, and you're just like, you found your thing. That's awesome.
You found your thing for sure. I've never been so passionate about something in my life. I mean, who would have thought? I studied fashion design. Like I was full blown going to be a fashion designer. I think for a solid 10 years, that was my whole thing. I had a little label. I used to make clothes. I used to sew dresses and go and wear them, and then people would buy them. It was crazy. But yeah, I just worked out.
Maybe you're going to be the next, I'll pull the logo on the shirt down, the next LSKD.
No, not for me. I just decided that whole creatively having to come up with stuff all the time was just not for me.
It's wild.
Yeah.
I watch some of the Gymshark vlogs and stuff, and just like the pace that those guys work at in terms of creativity, I'm like, it's wild.
He has an incredible story as well, how he started
Yeah, Ben
Gymshark.
does. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and now this multi-million-dollar company.
they're over $1 billion now.
Are they? Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't. I don't know if I haven't worn their stuff in a long time, so I don't keep up with what they're doing. But
Yeah, well, they're not really. I mean, they're trying to have a running part of it, but I wouldn't say that they're particularly good run stuff.
no, I think I've had a few of their stuff for running, and it's not built for running at all. Whereas, as you said, LSKD had just nailing the branding and
Yeah, they've got it. They've got it down. I've been wearing their They've got the men's shorts that have the compression on the inside.
yeah,
And it has a phone. Like, this is a game changer for guys. It has a phone pocket on the compression, so it's made out of
On
the
the
compression
leg.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like what
Unreal.
we have, but you guys
Oh
finally
yeah, but
getting it.
girls get it all the time. Like
Yeah.
well, not many guys' clothes have that. So I hate things moving around in my pocket. So I run with my phone in my hand.
Same with
This,
me.
slot it straight in. So
Yeah, Nick hates
Game
running
changer.
belts. Can't cope with them.
yeah, I hate
and
running belts. Yeah.
Yeah, won't wear a vest, but yeah, he has a pair of LSKD race shorts and he loves them. They've got the like pocket on the side and the pocket on the back, and they're like little bike shorts. I'm like, oh, like whoa. Runners can get away with wearing anything, can't they?
They really can. No, like I'm a beef. I will run in as little as possible. Like shorts, that's it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
hate wearing a shirt. I
Same.
might wear a hat, maybe. That's it. Like,
Yeah, I said this to you at Gold Coast when you were like, "Hey, do you want to wear a singlet that has the Performance Project on it?" I was like, "I'm sorry, but no."
yeah.
Poor Matt. I was not that I wasn't very nice. I was nice about it. I was just like, "Look, I appreciate it, but no."
Yeah, I also, it's, I'm a big, and like we drill this with all of our athletes, is like 10, 12 weeks out, like you start practicing, like if Sunday is race day. So you run in the clothes you're going to run in, you run in the
Yep.
shoes you're going to run in, you do the nutrition, you do the breakfast, like everything is race day simulation. So you're ready for it, and then adding something in on the day. They might rub different, the material might not breathe as well, whatever, nutrition wise, like it might, something you haven't done, the carbohydrate rate's different, like you remove variables. So I did not take offense. I was just like, because we literally got the merch that day.
We got it in the Gold Coast.
Yes. I got it like the day before we flew to
Yeah.
Gold Coast. So
Yeah.
that was where I was like, yeah, if you want to wear it, you can wear it. But I did not take offense.
No. I was like, what if we, get my sports bra and put it on that? I can cope with that.
We'll do
Nah,
we're going to do some cool merch drops this year.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I'm so excited. I love a bit of merch, love a bit of run club kit or, any of that
Speaking
stuff.
of Run Club, are we going to do a Beyond the Finish Line Run Club? I'll even come to the big scary city and do it.
The big scary city. Oh my
The
god,
big scary city.
you can't see me behind the mic, guys, but I'm so excited right now. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I really want to do a run club.
Because we're going to do training weekends with the Performance Project, so we could line it up.
Yes.
So then I can only just do one
that's
run
the
to this.
exclusive club. You have to train with Matt to go to that.
That's true, yeah.
But hey, Performance Project, not performance. Sorry, Beyond the Finish Line, not as exclusive. You can just come, and that would
Yep.
be great. We
Yeah,
can.
I think so. I think that'd be cool, and we could do the whole Centennial thing or do whatever. You
Yeah.
can pick out somewhere to run.
Last time we ran in Centennial, and poor Matt was like, I had to get an Uber here, and I got lost. He
Mate.
hates the city, guys.
It's just a disaster. Like, I don't know how people live in the city. I really don't. It's just...
It's
I
so
was like-
funny. I just
I
don't get
got
that feeling.
booked the Uber, and I was like, this is where I need to go. I was like, I even checked with him. I was like, is this where you taking me? He's like, yeah. And he dropped me on the other side of Centennial Park. I'm like,
Yeah, that's
it's like 2Ks
that's
across.
just a silly Uber. Yeah, that is too.
Yeah, but I'm just like, this isn't this. Like, if I was at home, I'd be like, can you take me to this cafe? He'd be like, yeah, I'll take you to the cafe.
That's because there's only one cafe. Right?
Yeah, and I got there on time at the front door, exactly where I wanted to be.
I know. Look, I'm a weird creature. I love the city, and I grew up in the country. So you'd think, being a country person, I would not like the city, but I live for it. Love it.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I went through a city. Like, I did my apprenticeship in the city, and I loved it. And I lived in
Yeah.
London, and I loved it. And I lived in Paris, and I loved it. But I
Now
think
for
once
what
I
you
got
do.
it, yeah, once I got out of the rat race, and I didn't need to be in there, I was like, oh, it's no longer interesting to me.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think it depends
Yeah,
on the stage of life you're in, whether or not
for
you want to
sure.
stay in the
I know
city
you're
or
calling
not.
me old, but that's okay. No worries.
Stage of life in quotation marks. Oh dear, sorry, I didn't mean it. We're just chatting shit over here now.
Mate, that's it. Guys, I literally, as I told you at the start, we didn't know what we were going to talk about. And George's like, how about we talk about shoes? So I nicknamed the episode Shoes and Gibberish.
Yeah.
And the first 40 minutes has been successful.
Absolute gibberish. But hey, I'll be damned if we don't talk about shoes right now.
Let's
'Cause
talk
I
some
get
shoes.
asked a lot. What shoes are you wearing at the moment, Matt? Tell us. What's your rotation look like?
So I am very much in the same position as you, as where I will not wear multiple different shoes. I'm forcing you not to wear multiple different shoes. So no carbons at the moment. I am just rocking the Asics Nova Blast 5.
Oh my gosh, how
which
good are they?
I think I said this I can't remember if I said this on social media or I said this in a previous episode. Sometimes it blends together. But I do think that shoe, and I'm not sponsored by Asics. If you had have come to me just a month ago, I would have said Saucony's the most versatile shoe in
Yeah.
the world, because I
Yeah,
think
you're a
they're...
diehard Saucony.
Yep. I think the Asics Nova Blast 5 is the most versatile. I don't think it's the best. I think there are other shoes that do different things better, but I think if
Yeah.
you want a one shoe to do everything, I've gone trail running in it. Literally ran to the top of Mount Kosciuszko. I've done speed work in it. I've done long runs in it. I've done threshold sessions in it, and it holds up everywhere. So right
Yeah.
now, that is my
Pretty much your
favorite
rotation.
shoe. Yeah, that is. I'm
Yeah.
pretty much just wearing that.
Yeah, I think it was the last episode, which you guys hopefully have listened to by now. But yeah, that was the last episode we chatted about. That was that the Nova Blast 5 is incredible, and I was actually saying this yesterday to one of the reps from ASIC. She was kind of chatting to me. She's saying, "Oh, what's your favorite shoe at the moment?" We're just chatting, and I was just like, "Guys, whatever they've done with that Nova Blast 5." Because I have the 4, so I can compare the two, and it is incredible. I actually reach for it more than my Super Blast, which is unheard of. But I just find it lighter than the Super Blast. You can really wear it for a lot more runs.
And it can really take a beating. Like, I find some of those shoes that do have the big wedge of padding, like you start putting some decent kilometers into them and it really wears down because it's so soft.
Yeah.
I haven't looked into the foam blend in this particular shoe, but it's holding up. I've probably put at least 250 kilometers into it since buying it, and it's still basically brand new.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure from memory it's the FF Blast. Don't correct me if I'm wrong, but got a couple of different foams. I think it's just got a slightly smaller stack height than the Super Blast and a different knit from memory, but it is incredible. Such a good shoe. Yeah, I love them. I'm rotating between those, the Super Blast. I am a big Asics fan, purely because I actually just really like the shoes. I don't get paid by them to say any of this, but I will die hard tell everyone about it. I do have a great relationship with Asics, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to lie about that. As I said, they invited me to that thing yesterday, but they're also not afraid to let me talk about other shoes. So I'll happily be like, yeah, sure, if you want to go run City to Surf with another brand, do that.
Yeah, again, we spoke about it at the start in terms of like the content is moving so quick. Like even if you're like, hey, I'm doing Asics versus Saucony, Asics is still getting promotion out of that. Even if you're mostly talking about Saucony, like you're ASICs still get a rub.
Well, they're still getting the brand awareness out there as well. And
Exactly. Yeah.
that's all they just want. They talk a lot about just regular people wearing their stuff, and I love that. Whereas there's a
Yeah.
lot of brands out there that only want elites wearing it, and it's like, oh, you're a bit behind because there's a lot of things that say that elites aren't relatable.
Yeah, and I think it makes it tough because like people don't always know what they're looking for in a shoe, especially like remove the easy running shoes when we start getting
Yeah.
into things like tempo shoes, carbon plated shoes, super shoes. They just go, cool, what does my favorite athlete wear? And
Yeah.
they're like, oh, he wears the Nike Alpha Fly 3s. Cool, I'm just going to buy them. But
Yeah.
like your foot might not work in that.
Yeah, and shoes like that, so many people have different experiences, especially if you just read a few reviews online and read the comments. You'll see people like, oh, I got the worst blisters from these. And then other people, like myself, I didn't get one blister from them. So it's so different for everyone.
Yeah. What else are you rocking at the moment?
Well, you've banned me from wearing
No carbons.
carbon-plated shoes.
Yeah.
Look, before you said no carbons, I was wearing the Magic Speed, which is carbon-plated tempo run shoe, which I love. It's got all of the support that I love in an Asics, but the carbon plate that I love in a race day shoe. So I'm not having to worry that the foam's going to roll or my ankle's going to hurt or my knees are going to hurt afterwards. Because I do find after wearing race day shoes, my knees are really sore afterwards just because they've got like no support.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's definitely an important thing is like picking the right shoe for the right run. Like a lot of people will, I don't know, I just said Nova Blast 5s are the most versatile. You can use for everything, and you can. But there is a point where you're probably
do also
running.
need- Yeah, you need to rotate.
Yeah, you do need to rotate. So it takes on average 24 to like 36 hours for the foam to fully expand back out. So if you take a fresh shoe off the shelf, if you measured the foam and then you went and ran an hour, just an example, came back, the foam would be way more compressed, obviously just from
Yeah.
the impact. And then if you went and put that shoe on first thing the next morning, it still wouldn't be fully expanded back out. So you're not actually getting the full benefit of the shoe. So shoe rotation is important. It's not essential, but if you do have the means to have multiple pairs of shoes, definitely recommend.
And look, we're not talking about having 3 or 4 or 5 pairs. Like I think 2
No.
pairs on rotation when you're starting. You could start with like what I wore yesterday, which was the new Nimbus 27s. Really great, easy run shoe, recovery shoe. Not quite as all-rounder as the Nova Blast. I've been wearing the Nimbus kind of on my Monday runs, which is the recovery sessions you program for me. But you could also wear it for a long run. But then, yeah, the Nova for kind of my run club or for long runs. But other than that, I'm not really wearing anything else. They're kind of the ones, the Super Blast, the Nova Blast. That's kind of what I'm rotating at the moment with the Nimbus.
Yeah, and I think that's important too, because like a lot of people get overwhelmed with the idea of, oh my God, what shoe do I need to buy? Do I need to buy a super shoe? Do I need to buy an easy shoe? I know we
Yeah.
sort of spoke about this the other week, but just investing in one good pair of shoes, especially if you're a beginner and you're only going to run 2-3 times a week, one pair of shoes is enough. Like you're fine. When
Yeah.
you start getting to the 4 and 5 times a week, which you're probably a little bit more experienced, having that second and third pair of shoe will pay dividends, not just in performance, but injury prevention.
Definitely. But yeah, injury prevention. Also, as you said, protecting the foam a little bit more. You get, while yes, if you wore them every day of the week, you'd still get the same mileage out of them, but they'll last a little bit longer. You're not getting dirty as much. You're not having to wash them as much. But yeah, definitely rotating your shoes around is something that you should do once you start running a few days a week. Because
Yeah, and let's talk speed shoes, tempo shoes, carbon plated shoes. We'll save super shoes to the end. But at what point did you start wearing? Was an easy shoe no longer? Did you feel like, oh, I could probably upgrade from an easy shoe to a faster shoe?
once I started wearing my tempo shoes only this year. I didn't actually have any last year. When my session started to become like I was really pushing, So for me, when you're programming me the runs and I'm running like a 4:30 and between 4:30 and 5 minutes, and they're short and fast, I just found that my shoes that kind of did everything were a little bit too heavy. And that's what
Yeah.
was just like, I just feel exhausted after these runs. I don't feel like I can get that real snappy go, 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 and then stop, and then go, go, go. You know, it took me longer to get into the rhythm when I was wanting to improve my speed more straight off the bat. That's kind of when I bought a pair of, tempo run shoes.
And that's, you just literally just articulated why we're not using the speed shoes. Because you don't have that snap. You got to work harder. They're heavier, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's exactly the reason why because you can go, we've just said, like, you don't need them until you reach a certain spot, but you can go the other way and use them too much where you lose the snap and the pop and what makes them special. And then the super shoes, you obviously get it on top of that. But anything that's carbon plated or designed for speed, like, it is a balancing act, making sure that you are using them correctly, which probably isn't spoken about enough because most people are just like, either shoe companies want you to burn through them so you buy more, and influencers want to wear them as many runs as they can because they look sick and they get good Strava stats.
Get good. Yeah, look, I know what you mean. When would be the right time to wear tempo shoes, though? I feel like if you're buying a tempo run shoe, you're wearing them on a tempo run. What's the point of them if they're not going to really help you on your normal tempo runs as opposed to just on race day?
No. So they definitely do help you, but it goes in ebbs and flows, right? So like what you just said, when you first really started pushing, you felt like you couldn't make that jump.
Yeah.
Got tempo shoes, you could make that jump.
Yeah.
Now you've experienced that, you've become a better runner, more conditioned, you can handle the volume, you can handle the speed. We actually remove the tempo shoes or remove the carbon plates, however you want to word that.
Yeah.
And the gap from where you were to where you are now is significantly smaller. The jump isn't as big. So you might only have to work, let's say originally, you would have had to work 20% harder. Now it might be 5, right?
Okay, I see what you mean. So where I was struggling to get to those paces, now I'm at those paces now. I just want to maintain that pace without a carbon plate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then when we do another speed block and we want to get you a little bit quicker, we'll do the same thing. Reintroduce carbon plates,
Right.
get you better, extend them out, things like that.
Okay, I just see here I was just thinking you were just trying to punish me. No,
everything
I'm only
I do everything is data.
Everything is data driven. I know. How about you? Are you wearing any carbon plates at the moment?
No. I've literally just been wearing Nova Blast. Probably one more week of just easy shoes, and then we'll start getting into Ironman specific runs.
Yep.
But I'm a big, I take this stuff super nerdy, so obviously, but even like my speed sessions, I will go to a grass track. So we have a grass track. It's about 15-minute drive from us because I don't get the spring off the road. So you take no spring off the road, no carbon plate, and I've got to work on like slightly longer grass. Like it's not like artificial turf or anything. Yeah. So I've got to work super, super hard, hit those speeds. And then hopefully in a couple of weeks, I'll start doing just solid road running to condition my legs. Then we'll introduce carbon plates, and then I should get like a real boost.
Okay, so then what are you wearing during Ironman for the marathon portion? Are you wearing super shoes? Are you wearing carbon plated shoes? Or
super shoes.
Super shoes, right. And what's the shoe of choice?
So I'm actually going to do some testing. Surprise, surprise.
Classic. Oh, anything for testing. Matt's like...
Anything for testing. I'll do it.
He's getting so excited about the testing. Look, he's flushing.
Love a test. So for my last one, I wore the Saucony Endorphin Elites.
Yes, yep. Great shoe.
They're a great shoe. I think if you're in the market for a super shoe, I'm not sponsored by Saucony, and you don't know what shoe to buy, that shoe lands right in the middle of just about every spectrum. It'll suit
Okay.
just the most people off the bat, unless you are on, you know, a pronator, supinator, whatever. Like, unless you know you have an issue, that shoe will fit the most people straight off the bat, and then you can sort of deviate based on personal preference. I find that shoe, because I'm a real heel striker, it doesn't give me the roll that I need. It's good. It's got some pop, but it's missing a little bit of magic, which I think when you put super shoes on,
You want the magic?
you want the magic.
Oh, you want to feel like you are flying in those.
Yeah, it should feel effortless, and
Yeah.
it's just missing something. So
Okay. Interesting.
previously I had, I'll give you my story of super shoes, and you'll see where I'm coming from. So the first super shoes I ever got were the Nike Alpha Fly ones, and they were like magic on your feet. It felt like you were
Classic.
floating, effortless. Everything was unreal. I still have them just for nostalgia. You can see the plate wearing through, like they are in no condition to run, but I have them.
Yeah, you have.
So I bought the Nike Alpha Fly 2s,
Same.
and they are the worst super shoe ever made.
So everyone, you either love them or you hate them. See, I
They
like
are a fucking disaster.
They're a disaster. Did you get the pink ones too, like everyone else?
Absolutely, I got the pink ones, yeah.
I got the pink ones. I got the pink socks. It was a whole
Yeah,
moment.
pink socks, yeah. Yeah,
It was the
I did the
thing.
whole thing. I was deep in my social media era.
This is pre you and I becoming mates because I have
Correct,
the same shoes.
Correct. But they're the worst super shoe ever made by far. Absolute disaster. Now, then I went to the Saucony's. So that's where I'm
Okay.
at. I really like the look of the New Balance because it's got the roll. I really like
So
the look
cool.
of the Alpha Fly 3 because it's got the roll. Mm-hmm. And I really like... I take it back. I wasn't going to try the Asics, but based on how good the 5 was, I am going to try it. But if you ask me if I only had to buy one, I'm leaning towards the New Balance.
Yeah, the New Balance look epic. I wish
Yeah.
they would sponsor me. I want to try those shoes so bad, but I already have like 3 pairs of super shoes, so I'm like, it's a bit silly to be going out and buying a pair. But you know, I'll take a pair if they want to send them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hey, still
New
looking
Balance,
for
shout
that
out.
London Marathon ticket. New Balance, hello.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, because for me, I don't care. And this will change for different people, but like I don't care what they look like. They could be the worst colorway in the world. They could be just atrocious. I just care about the performance. Like that's all I'm using it for. I am doing a marathon after 184 kilometers, like of
You want
other
comfort.
sport. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I just need to be able to. It needs to be able to support my legs, and I need to be able to run 3:30 off the bike. So
Yeah, I don't think the Metaspeed would be for you if you're wanting that more support because I find they are light as a feather, but I can't imagine getting off a bike and getting into them. I feel like there wouldn't be a wide enough bottom on it and a big enough
yeah.
for you.
That's why,
especially
like,
if you've been looking at the New Balance.
originally when I was looking at them, it didn't grab me. Like
Yeah,
the Nike and the New Balance were like they looked like that. They looked like the shoe that if you asked me to shut my eyes and envision it, they look like the padding, the roll, everything. But
Yeah.
I'm so Asics, mate. Like you guys are getting such a plug here. I am so impressed with that Nova Blast 5. I feel like I should I need to test it just to like tick the box in my head that I know
Okay.
it's not the right shoe.
yeah. What size shoe are you? Might have a spare.
11 and a half.
Okay, no, I don't have a spare. Sorry.
Really? I don't fit your shoes, Georgia?
No, Nick has a spare pair.
Oh, Nick,
He has
right.
a
That
spare
makes
pair.
sense, yeah.
Look, the Nova Blast 5 is incredible. I don't know if you're going to feel the same about the Metaspeed. I think they're just completely different. But
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, I love my Metaspeed because it feels like I'm wearing nothing, and it feels like I could like beat the marathon. I could be the best. You know, I just feel so good in them.
And that's the feeling you want. Everyone's got a different shoe. You're going to feel that way in a different thing. Some people put on that Nike Alpha Fly 2, which I think should be removed from from history, and they love it.
Yeah, that's the diff, right? So the Alpha Fly I found really big and like I can't even I don't know how to describe the
Bulky.
body.
Like some people find it
I'm like
bulky. Yeah.
I feel like a horse running in them. Because
Big old Clydesdale coming down the street.
you can always, if you're in Centennial, I can close my eyes, or if someone runs behind me and I'm like, that person's running in a pair of Nikes. Like you can hear it.
You can hear it. The clip clop.
You can hear, and I specifically know if it's a pair of Alpha Flies. I'm like, oh, this person's got Alpha Flies on, and they cruise on past in their Alpha Flies.
Wow.
Whereas the Asics and the
You're
New
like
Balance,
a sommelier for shoes. You're like, smell it. You're like pink laces coming up. I can tell.
getting giddy over the laces. I can tell though if it's a New Balance or an Asics because you can't hear them. They're light as a feather. But yeah, I liked the Alpha Flies, but maybe I like the color more than anything. I was a bit blindsided.
Yeah, the pink shoes. They looked sick. They looked how, when did you ever watch did you watch The Simpsons growing up?
Of course.
You know when Homer got to design his car?
Yes.
That's what the Alpha Fly is like. If you got to design a super shoe, that's what you'd picture it to be. You'd be like, it looks sick. It doesn't even make sense. It's got the big front panel, fluoro pink.
Yeah,
like it doesn't even make sense.
On the rotating.
Yeah, on the rotating thing. Yeah.
And then you just get
exactly.
all of the runners in one room and they're all like, wow.
Yeah. 100%. That's the Alpha Fly too, and it was just awful, just like Homer's car.
Yeah. Have you seen the Alpha Fly that's got the flames on it?
Yeah, I have.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Like just some kid has just drawn a pair of shoes and be like, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
fuck
put
yeah.
stick
He's got
flames
his
in it.
texture in math.
Yeah.
He's just colouring away.
Did you see the new Pumas that came out today? The Puma
I haven't seen
Super
the ones
shoes.
today, no.
Oh my
Are these
goodness.
the illegal ones, or are these the...
Yeah. I think these are an iteration of the illegal ones.
Oh, okay.
I think they are slightly different. They've released 1,000 pairs worldwide.
I just...
I'm like,
running shoes are turning into basketball shoes in that way.
they are. There was a moment there where the Jordans were so hard to get, and it
Still
is
are.
very similar to that, where you've got to go. It's going to get to the stage where shoes like that are becoming raffle shoes.
Yeah, but like... I don't know. I just don't see the point in that because I don't, and maybe in 100 episodes time I'll look ridiculous. I don't see a resale market for running shoes. Like Jordans, there's a resale market. That's why people buy them. That's why I do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see in 2030 someone being like, I have got the Puma 2025 illegal shoe. It is now worth $20,000.
Maybe if it was unworn.
No, even unworn, but like I don't see the market.
No.
Because technology just improves so much.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in a couple of years' time, that tech in that shoe is going to be really old.
Yeah. But the thing with the Jordans is like they are like the tech hasn't changed in the basketball shoe, but they are like tech has changed in basketball shoes, but not the Jordan brand specifically.
No.
And they're like, cool, these are the North Carolinas because they're a specific colorway, or these are the ones or whatever, yeah.
And you've got like the things like you've got, your Bread and your Panda and all of those ones that have been re-released, and it's the whole nostalgia thing. I mean, when I first started dating Nick, when I tell you this boy had shoes, he had probably 50 pairs of Jordans and was big into that. Yeah,
yep, I was a big shoe collector.
Yeah.
Shoes and watches, that was my thing.
Yeah, big into the Jordans, like the 11s and the Breads and all of those sorts of things. So, I mean, when we were in Europe, we were going everywhere trying to collect shoes for him. But I agree. I don't think running shoes will be that. I think the shoe of the moment definitely has that. I think the Alpha Fly had that, where they were so hard to get that you were having to buy them on Marketplace. I mean, a bit ill. I don't think I could do that. Someone's sweaty feet in a pair of shoes.
Yeah. I've never wanted a pair of shoes that bad that I would buy it like off Marketplace, like unless I just wanted to try it and be like, do I want to buy a fresh pair of these?
Yeah. You buy them really cheap, but I can't imagine spending overs on a shoe that's literally.
Because that's what old mate in WA does. What is his name? Jog on Crago. He just scours Marketplace and gets the best deal he can.
Yeah, I saw his video on that where he was talking about that. So good. Well, we have been chatting again. It goes so quick. It really does. I hope this is someone's long run, because this is a good episode for just chatting absolute
It's a
shit.
great Zone 2 one. You're just like zoning out, just listening.
Yeah, that's what I said to Matt today. I was just like, I just want a bit of an episode that's a bit of fluff, you know, like something easy to listen to. You don't have to listen to the stats. Something that I would consume.
Yeah.
Because the stats,
Like,
I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. Help me.
yeah. I think I agree. Like, they all can't be me just talking about analytics.
As much
But
as you'd love that.
yes and no, because like it's a lot.
It
Like
is
you
a
said,
lot.
it is a lot. But I also remember when I first started like getting into triathlon, Googling what is Zone 2, and there being either university articles or nothing else.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, if we can give a slightly nerdy, slightly scientific idea, so you actually understand what it is, but
Yeah.
also is digestible. Like, I would have killed for that content when I was starting. So I love these episodes because we can just talk and there's no agenda and I don't have to be on, which is great.
Yeah.
But then I see a lot of value in the other episodes too, which is why we do them. Right? We don't just do them for the fun of
exactly.
it. But
Definitely. And that, as you said, it's content you really wanted and it's content that I really wanted because there's a lot out there. There's a lot of info. It's hard to understand what you're hearing on social media. Is it true? Is it just a
hard to
trend?
digest it in a minute as well. Hard to get the point across, the hook,
Yeah.
yeah, everything. Yeah.
I definitely. And I mean, if you're seeing all these people online talking all about zone 2, you're like, oh, I have to do zone 2. But as we spoke about last week, might not be for you, might not be necessary for the first bit.
Oh, just before we go, can I don't know if you saw this, but you know the Lambros? I think that's what they're called.
Yes.
Did you see that they released a marathon program? Have you heard
Yes.
about this?
Yes. I think Trail Kings did a thing on this recently.
Okay.
They're the guys that ran across Australia, right? And then got all these injuries and complained about it.
Alleged. Like, they'd be like, I've got a stress fracture in my foot, and the next day they'd run 60 Ks. So
Yeah. It's
it
kind
was
of
like, I
like,
tore my ACL, and then he was jumping off out of a tree.
yeah, it's kind of like, did you actually tear your ACL or is this for content?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yes, I did see that they released a program, which is scary.
Yeah, and I am, how do I put this? I hate bagging on people. I think people should just do, like, if you believe in it and it's your thing, go and do it. And if someone doesn't like it,
Yep.
too bad. But that program is borderline dangerous.
I was just about to say that. It is borderline dangerous because this is where people start getting into the territory of getting really bad injuries.
Yeah.
And like legally,
Like-
how can they put that out there?
I don't. So this is, you asked me the other day about like qualifications and stuff because someone was asking you
Yeah, they
about
were.
my qualifications. Legally, for online coaching, and this counts towards personal training, towards triathlon coaching, towards endurance coaching, like pretty much if you're a coach online, you don't actually, because you're I forget the exact wording, but basically because you're international, theoretically, because you're online, you don't answer to a single governing body. So you don't actually need, you don't physically need a qualification. Now, if you are looking for a coach, please go to someone who has some form of education, even if they are self-taught, but when you speak to them, you do a consult with them, they have some, you can tell if they're well-read, you can tell
Yeah,
if they
which
know what
we
they're
do.
talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like not to shit on them, they can do whatever they want with their content, they raise the money for charity, all that stuff's awesome.
Love that.
Yeah. Programs, no, like, don't buy that program intending to do a marathon. If you want to buy it just to support their fundraising and stuff, awesome, go do that 100%. But do not buy it in terms of you want to complete a marathon.
Yeah, no. And there was another group that they had started a running club and they've got a big online presence, especially in Queensland, that had released a program that was, I think it was 8 weeks for a half marathon and 12 or something for a full marathon. And
Yeah,
it
which
was
is just not
0
enough.
to marathon, pretty much.
Yeah. If you're 0 to a marathon, I've been aggressive with a couple of people who have come from, who are athletic. Let's just say that they come from an athletic background, not necessarily runners. Anything under 16 weeks, I'm like, I think the closest I've done is 14. And I was like, I have no issue at 4 weeks out if we need to pull the pin because you're not ready. Like, that's what we're going to do. And like, she got it done in 14, but she didn't feel awesome, which in hindsight for me, I was like, not great. But
shortest I've done is like 18 weeks or something.
Yeah, 24 to 18 to 24s. Yeah, 100%. The longer, the better. The more time you have, the better you'll feel, the stronger you'll be. The fit, everything is better with more time.
Yeah, I mean, you and I are partially in a marathon training block at the moment for Sydney. We're building up my strength and my...
All of my guys for Sydney started running at the start of February.
Yeah.
And that's in August.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, sweet. I remember last year, even when I first started training with you, I was like, can we start now? Can we start? Like, let me start.
Yeah, so... And maybe not just to shit on those guys, but any marathon programs you see that are 12, 16 weeks, anything under 18, and you're not running 30 plus kilometers a week, which obviously you wouldn't be looking for that program because it's 0 to marathon, but it's a tough ask. Like, just steer clear. Go talk to. You don't have to hire a coach, but just go talk to a coach for some advice because like they will spend the time and DM you or whatever. Same as like what Georgia said. She replies to everyone. If someone asks me a running question with no intention of coaching, I'll happily spend as much time as needed to answer their questions. So
there you go. Just be wary of the online coaching. Not online coaching, sorry, that's you. The online programs that can promise you a marathon in 14 weeks or something, 12 weeks.
But be wary of online coaching too. Like, just because you say I'm good and like other athletes who I coach and like me, like that doesn't mean it doesn't mean I'm the right coach for you. Like, or this person, like, do you do due diligence? Go talk to them. If they don't offer a consult, ask why. Like, they should be willing to sit down with you, answer all of your questions, absolutely free of charge.
Yeah. And
like, if they don't do that sort of stuff where you can sit there and they just want to charge you, like, just little red flags. Same thing with anything.
Yeah, scary. Scary.
Yeah, but I just thought that was important because it's kind of trending at the moment, and maybe some people worth considering doing it.
Yeah, definitely. I think just be wary.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, Georgia, we'll call it there.
Let's call it there. It's enough gibberish, right?
Yeah, shoes and gibberish. It's great. Great episode title.
A bit of Instagram help in there. Brand stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the start, we came out of the guns firing, mate. We didn't even plan that.
I know. Look at us go. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the chat.
Georgia, can you do a poll for Beyond the Finish Line Run Club on Instagram?
Of course. Let us know, guys, if you want to come. We will make that happen for you. I will put a poll out. We will get some numbers and we will do a nice sort of run, whether that be the city or Centennial. I know that's usually quite accessible for most people.
Yep. And if you're watching this on YouTube, leave it in the comments. We'll check that and we'll put it across all platforms if we do put something together.
Yeah, for sure. We'll make it happen.
Cool. Awesome. Cool. See you next week, Georgia.
Guys. See you next week.
See ya. Bye.